Birmingham Sports
with Ben Ellis.
This is BHBN Radio.
The Monday after, part of Birmingham Sport on BHBN Radio. It's Birmingham's hospital radio network. It's a brand new show on our YouTube channel, going to be dropping every Monday lunchtime from here on in. And it gives us an opportunity to review the action that we've been covering on the sports team on BHBN Radio over the weekend across the wards, and just an opportunity for us to get to know you. If you don't know me, my name's Ben Ellis, part of the team. I've got four of my esteemed colleagues on the chat here, and we're going to look back at the action that we've covered over the weekend, people who have attended matches, and the host of the big show that we had on Saturday afternoon on BHBN. It's who I will come to first. It's a Liverpool fan who was in the hot seat on Saturday afternoon. It is Ed Mackay. Ed, how you doing?
Very well, thank you, Ben. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, as we're talking now, it's Sunday evening, and we're just trying to dissect everything from the weekend. We'll come back to you in just a moment, Ed. He was at the brand new Hill Dickinson Stadium on Saturday afternoon for us, covering Everton against Aston Villa. It is Connor Porter. How are you, Connor?
Hi, Ben. Apologies for that. Just trying to find the mute button as always. And
early days, Connor.
Early days.
Don't worry.
I'm not used to studio work. I'm used to the field work more.
Well, perfect. We'll come on to talking about Aston Villa very shortly. Over in the Potteries, watching her beloved Birmingham City go down to a defeat on the road, which we'll talk about shortly as well. It is Kim Smith. How you doing, Kim?
I'm fine, thank you. Just watching the rain.
Yes. Yes, there's been a lot of rain today. There's no doubt about that. And with me at the Hawthorns for the 125th anniversary of football at said ground, it is Jonathan Wimbush, fan of West Bromwich Albion. How you doing, John?
Yeah, I've been working out in the rain, Kim, so just drying up now.
Lovely. Okay. Was it a productive day for you out in the rain, or were you forced out there? Was it kind of a punishment kind of thing?
It was the day job. It was the day job.
The day job.
The day job.
And if Jonathan Wimbush's bosses are watching this, he genuinely loves his work. Okay, he's not complaining in any way, shape, or form. So
not at all.
No, not at all. So we will get on to talking about the football that happened for the West Midlands teams very shortly, but we need to address a major breaking story on Sunday morning. It was the untimely passing of Ricky the Hitman Hatton. The official statement from Greater Manchester Police was that he was found dead at his home in Greater Manchester on Sunday morning at the age of 46, and they are not treating the death as suspicious. I'm not a huge boxing fan, but I'm obviously aware of the significance of a boxer of Ricky Hatton. Ed, you put your hand up there. You may be more of a boxing fan than me, but this is tragic news.
Yeah, well, I'm a massive boxing fan. In fact, I didn't sleep last night. I was up all night watching Canelo Crawford, and so I actually went to bed after doing the night shift, if you like. And woke up to the news, and it is tragic because he is a true people's champion. We haven't had that many over the last sort of 20 years of British boxers, but Ricky Hatton certainly is that. He was a world champion and definitely captured the boxing fans' hearts. So it's an absolute tragedy.
Yeah, we don't know the circumstances officially as we're talking right now, but it was always a thing, and he was in training for it was a charity comeback fight, wasn't it? But there was always a thing during the peak of his career that he, and I say this with the greatest of respect, possibly wasn't the most disciplined in between fights in terms of looking after himself.
Yeah, I think he had his own demons with some drug use, and I think he liked to pint of Guinness, and certainly he used to balloon up in between training camps. So he knew that he had an issue with ill discipline, but I wasn't aware of any of those demons being part of his life at the moment. He seemed quite happy, like you said, on social media, X or whatever it is, he did put up pictures recently of him training. So it's strange that this would come unless it's completely unassociated. But yeah, he did struggle at times, but seemed like he was in quite a good place. So
Absolutely,
we don't know the
we don't know until,
circumstances, do we?
yeah, until it's made official. We don't know. And I was thinking about this today with Ricky Hatton. They talk about, don't they, in tennis, about you've had that great era of Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, and now you've got sort of Sinner and Alcaraz. I think Ricky Hatton has to be remembered in that period. Just at his peak. I mean, the only two fighters to beat Ricky Hatton were Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. Now, at the end of a career, that's a record you can be proud of, isn't it?
Absolutely. Floyd Mayweather, best pound for pound boxer of all time, officially. And as you rightly say, he's the only one who really took Ricky to task. And then Pacquiao, I actually thought Ricky Hatton had the better of him in one of them fights, to be honest. So, yeah, you're right, actually. That's a good analogy with the tennis. That they were the triumvirate of that weight category, and they were the triumvirate of that weight category when that weight category was the most prominent within the sport, because there was no real heavyweight division clashes at that time. They were the mainstays, and yeah, you probably say Ricky was the Andy Murray of those three.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
But also it was unfortunate for the division. The Mayweather Pacquiao fight of 2015 should have happened after Pacquiao beat Hatton. That was the time to actually get to know the answer for that for those two, because Mayweather had his other issues and his legal stuff going on, and that caused a big gap. But Ricky Hatton, obviously, Manchester City. Obviously, at the Etihad, a big deal was made of that today. They were never going to lose the Manchester derby today, of all days, quite frankly, regarding that. And a good thing was had. But the big news about Ricky Hatton. But we need to move on to what we are talking about on Birmingham Sports, BHBN Radio. It's the Monday after. Monday lunchtime is when you're seeing this for the first time, and we welcome your thoughts and comments in the chat on YouTube as you're watching this. So Aston Villa thinking about rebranding themselves as Aston Villa nil, just to bring their name actually into the official title of the club, because the only team in all of English professional football yet to score a goal midway through September. Connor Porter was up there at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, and we'll catch up with Connor very shortly. But here, first of all, is the thoughts post-match of Unai Emery, who, despite not getting any goals, was happy with Villa's performance.
Good things, not the best result, but good point. We are building the team. We are overcoming some circumstances didn't help us. Again, settling. For example, very good news today. Emiliano Martinez back. He played a fantastic match. Fantastic. We need him. Lamar Bogarde as a midfielder. We have three midfielders out. He played a fantastic match. Even when he was tired, Lindelof played as a midfielder. He helped us. The commitment they show with the player, this is the first step forward we have to do. And the performance under the discipline, under being organized like we planned, was very good.
Yeah, so no goals, but none conceded, Connor. I mean, first of all, you were up there. What do you make of the Hill Dickinson Stadium?
Well, it's a brilliant stadium, as I was saying to Ed in our brief conversations before I went on to air. He was asking me, what the stadium's like. I was like, well, as a Liverpool fan, Ed, you probably don't like it, but as a neutral, I pretty enjoyed the stadium. The only downfall of it was that the press box was right at the back, at the top of the main stand behind the dugouts. So you go up to the third floor and you have to climb these steep steps to get up to the press box. But other than that, it was great facility, really cool setting as well, right on the docks. There's not many other stadiums like it in Europe, I think. In the US, they've got plenty of stadiums like that in the kind of like in an industrial part of the city. But yeah, this was such a great and unique venue for football continuing going forward for Everton. Of course, I've got Jack Grealish in their ranks now, August Player of the Month, and he showed the quality in the game, but just couldn't quite get the additional assists that he's had this so far this season. And then on the flip side, of course, Villa have got their own couple of former Everton players in Luca Digne, Amadou Onana, and one that I've just remembered on the day because I heard it on Talksport as I was driving to the stadium was Idrissa Gana Gueye played a couple of games for Villa as well, which wasn't at the top of my mind, but
Yeah.
that was a
He
cool
played
one.
during the relegation era and the latter days of Randy Lowe. We called him Ghana at the time, but then it was Idrissa Gueye. Yeah, I think there were three ex Villa players in the starting lineup for Everton.
Yes, it was Jack Grealish. Let me remember Igra Bunam and who's
Idrissa Gueye, the one we just talked about.
There we go.
Yeah. So, Luca Digne looked like he'd grown an extra head with that lump. Seeing that, but that was quite the and he played on and in this era of kind of protocols, it was surprising.
Yeah, and they had a substitution at half time as well of Yuri Tillemans going off too.
Yeah, that's a worry. I was going to come to that.
Injuries are starting to pile up for Villa in a bit of a concerning way. The one player that we did actually forget, because there was 6 in total that had played for both Villa and for Everton, was Ross Barkley. Now he could potentially come into the team if Yuri Tillemans is out for a significant period and be a support system. I don't think he would start, but he'd definitely be needed, and hopefully he can get up to match fitness to be part of Unai Emery's team moving forward. But certainly, Ben, I'd love to get your opinions on this as a Villa fan. Because I could sit here as a neutral and kind of like give the impression that yes, sure, Villa need to improve in terms of how they go about scoring goals. But you, as a Villa fan, Ben, what is your perspective on it?
I can't figure it out, Connor. I cannot for the life of me figure out why they've just gone so slow and pedestrian. They look like they're wading through treacle when they're going forward now. I mean, for 2 seasons we had this dynamic forward-thinking team that would play through teams' midfield and quick in the transition with Morgan Rogers and Jacob Ramsey when he was there, Tillemans, McGinn, and it's just so slow now and so ponderous. And
would you say it's kind of like slowed down ever since John Duran left the football club back in January?
Possibly, but if it was masked by there being one more options out wide. I mean, it was a divisive figure amongst fans, but there's no Leon Bailey there anymore. But at least there was width to get the ball out wide to attack from a different angle. That's not there anymore. Plus, you had ultimately what it was papering over the cracks of Rashford and Asensio coming in on loan in January. They're not there anymore. So it's worrying now. There's no two ways. There's no two ways about it.
It is a little bit worrying, but I would say from the game yesterday, Gasson looked really promising as a player, signed, of course, from Nice, and of course we already know what Harvey Elliott has been able to do in a Liverpool shirt. He showed glimpses of that in the 20 minutes that he was on against Everton yesterday. And hopefully Jadon Sancho can provide some of that Borussia Dortmund flair that he had back in the day rather than what he's produced at Manchester United recently.
Yeah. Unai Emery said in the post-match he didn't know how long or how serious Tillemans' injury was, and he needs to get Boubacar Kamara back. And you mentioned Ross Barkley could come in as well, but Victor Lindelof came in the final few minutes and played in midfield, and Emery was pleased with him.
Yeah, he was another late signing in the window for Villa from, of course, free from Manchester United after leaving the club during the summer. But yeah, Lindelof stepped in really well in defensive midfield, but they'll be hopeful that Onana is able to come back as well, because he'll be perfect to slide into the team there and trying just to produce something going forward. But also, Emi Buendia, of course, spent last season on loan and back into the team this season in the Premier League. I'll be hoping that he can step up and bring some of that quality that he had in previous years at Aston Villa. He did have a good opportunity in the game yesterday, but he shot from distance when Pickford was off his line, when there was a better option, in my opinion, just ahead of him with Ollie Watkins. He might have been just offside, but if he had passed that ball through, it might have been a good opportunity for Villa to get their first goal of the Premier League this season, which we are still waiting for, Ben.
Absolutely. Jonathan Wimbush, last time Villa scored any goals, we were together watching them at Walsall in pre-season take apart Roma. It seems like a lifetime ago now. And when we thought, okay, you don't often want to get kidded by what you see in pre-season, but ultimately that is what happened. What do you make of Villa? I mean, a point on the road anywhere in the Premier League and a clean sheet is a good result. I don't think that should be discounted, but where do you see Villa right now?
Yeah, as you said, it seems forever and a day since that 4-0 win against Roma at Warsaw. They were a very different team then. Okay, they've lost the likes of Jacob Ramsey, managed to keep Emi Martinez, which is very important. But when you see the only points that they've got is from goalless draws, and it's a difficult one to take. They're 19th in the table. Sorry,
no, they're not. The table. No. The table does not exist until after the November international break. Not even 10 games,
Yeah,
Connor.
well.
Connor's flashing up 10 games. No, it's the November international break. And I'm quite prepared. I'm quite prepared to push it to Boxing Day and maybe then even February or perhaps March, right? But right now, there is no 19th place. There's no second bottom. There's nothing like that. Wolves are bottom, but we'll come to them in just a moment.
Still bottom two with Wolves.
But,
as I was saying, it's if you're a Villa fan and you do look into the table 5 games in, then it doesn't make for very nice reading. And I believe patience will wear thin. It already has in the Championship this week. And Unai Emery might find his job untenable.
I don't think we're even close to that. Not with what has been put in terms of the structure of the club.
Yeah.
I think anyway. They go to Brentford on Tuesday. In the Carabao Cup. They've already been to Brentford once in the Premier League, and almost the result doesn't matter. If they could just start scoring some goals and get some confidence, then they go to Sunderland next week, and we'll see what happens. It is the Monday after. It is part of the Birmingham Sport offering on BHBN Radio. Every Saturday afternoon, we're live across the wards of the hospitals of Birmingham and Solihull, certain care homes as well, and we provide live coverage of West Midlands football. I might even say your match day alternative. Okay, we're just a bunch of passionate fans who care about our teams, and we like to bring you the best coverage possible. And from here on in, we're going to have a review. We're going to look at Wolves, who are bottom of the Premier League table very shortly. But first of all, we're going to pause for a very important appeal.
BHBN Radio has been going since 1952. It is run entirely by volunteers, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Right now, BHBN needs friends like you to ensure it can broadcast to hospitals, care homes, and into the community for many more years to come. You can help by donating through our Just GoFundMe account. It's easy. Simply go to our website, bhbn.net, scan our GoFundMe QR code, and in a few clicks, you can help us out. If you're a taxpayer, you can give 25% more through gift aid at no extra cost to you.
BHBN Radio.
It's the Monday after on Birmingham Sport, BHBN Radio, a brand new show on YouTube. We're looking back at the Premier League from this past weekend, and it's a theme across all of our teams, and we'll get onto it in the Championship in just a moment. The lack of goals across the board. A 1-0 defeat for Wolverhampton Wanderers at Newcastle, and Connor Porter is with us, and Jonathan Wimbush, who see plenty of Wolves, particularly at Molineux. Connor, I'm going to come to you first on this one. Did you see the Wolves chairman make a comment during the international break about what his ambitions and what his expectations are for this season?
I didn't actually, so you're gonna have to tell me all about it, and maybe tell everyone else about it
well,
as well.
this is a cautionary tale because I've seen and heard owners and chairmen talk about this kind of thing before. Certainly, Randy Lerner and Aston Villa back in the day. Jeff Shee, the Wolves chairman, sat down with the Wolves YouTube channel, and this was published on the 5th of September. Following the closure of the 2025 summer transfer window, the executive chairman, Jeff Shee, sat down to answer a series of questions on the club's summer business. Despite a summer of change, Strand Larsen stayed at the club, so that blah, 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 blah. Essentially, he's saying, and obviously it's not our interview, so we can't play it. He's targeting the top 10. He's targeting a push for European places this season. Given who they've let go and not replaced, I don't know, Connor. You see Wolves as more than I do. That's cloud cuckoo land, isn't it?
It is. It's certainly not the same team that I've seen play so far this season that could potentially finish in the top 10. Sure, they've had some difficult games, with facing off against Manchester City in the opening game, also playing against Everton, who are in form at the moment. And then Newcastle, we know about the strength of their team, despite the loss of Isak to Liverpool. But this Wolves team, it doesn't look the same team that had finished the season under fine form or under Victor Pereira and managed to keep their spot in the Premier League. And it almost, as you said, just looks like it's going through another cycle. They had the same kind of process when Gary O'Neill was in charge of the football club. They had a really good, strong period. He kept the team in the league. I think he took over from Lopetegui from that point. But he had that strong cycle of performing well, but then things got bad for him, and then eventually they replaced him with Vitor Pereira, and Vitor Pereira had the good form. So, maybe we're in that position, but there is some quality in this Wolves team still, despite the loss of Cunha and Ryan Aït-Nouri to Manchester United and Manchester City, respectively. It all just depends on what's going to happen with Jurgen Strand Larsen, I suppose, because he can provide the goals for them going forward, but he didn't even start the game yesterday.
Yeah, that surprised me. Surprised me
for Wolves, and I don't think he was even on the bench. So wow. It is a surprise, really, as to what is that kind of relationship going forward, and where is the confusion as to how the ambition from the ownership thinking that they can finish in the top 10 versus the activity that they had in the transfer window to try and replace some of the key players that helped them survive in the Premier League over the past couple of seasons.
Absolutely. Ed Mackay, the cautionary tale that I was talking about, it involves my team. It involves Aston Villa. You think of Tim Sherwood coming in, second half of the season 2015, revitalised them, got them to stay in the Premier League, got to an FA Cup final, and then sold all their best players in the following window, including Christian Benteke, who went to your team, Liverpool, and didn't get off to a great start. He was sacked by October, and Villa finished rock bottom. This sounds very familiar to me.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I noticed, because I've been to Molineux a few times already, I saw them in the pre-season game, I saw them in that Man City game with Connor. They just don't look like they know where the back of the net is. I appreciate they got a couple of goals against Everton last week, but I think they're going to really struggle, even with Strand Larsen there, because I mean, it's obvious to me their ambition should be 17th. That's where they should aim, because I think that creativity is their problem. As Connor said, they've got some talent, but not enough, in my view. And they also, I mean, they have this thing where they just look really panicky when they get in the final third, like they don't know what the right decision is. I think they're going to struggle personally. I think that's, like you said, I think that's cloud cuckoo land. And the problem with having those kind of delusions of grandeur when it comes to expectation is, as you rightly say, if the thinking isn't aligned and you start chopping and changing managers and players get down, you can quickly find yourself in a relegation battle. And I think that is where. Sorry, I lost.
Carry on.
No, I was just going to say, I think that's where they need to aim for 17th. They need to win games at home against the kind of teams that they're going to be fighting with. Because, I mean, I don't know what the rest of the panel think, but I think Wolves are really in a fight.
They're right in it. They're right in it. There's no doubt about it. And potentially, I mean, we said it's early days, but the first real 6-pointer of the season coming this Saturday. Wolves take on Leeds United at Molineux. Jonathan Wimbush holds the title of being the most treacherous West Bromwich Albion fan in the world, because he, with the exception of the couple of games you've mentioned, he goes to pretty much every Wolves home game for BHBN reports on. So he's probably the most qualified out of any of us to talk about the club. That's a big game, John, isn't it, against Leeds?
Yeah, I'll go where I'm sent. That's all I say to that. But yeah, it's a huge game. And, Leeds themselves, they went 1-0 down to Fulham very late on, I believe, this weekend. So it is going to be a relegation 6-pointer already so early in the season. I'm just looking at their other fixtures for the rest of September, and the owner wants to be 10th, but they've got Tottenham at the end of the month away, which is always a tough test, especially with the revival that they're going through with Thomas Frank in charge. Everton returned to Molineux for the Carabao Cup game. So they, I don't see where they can be, they might get a point out of Leeds. I don't see them getting anything out of Spurs. And then in October, Brighton, Sunderland, Burnley. It's a tough ask for Wolves at the moment. They're the only team in the Premier League with 0 points after 4 games. So it is going to be very tough for them.
And it will be live across the wards on Birmingham Sport BHBN Radio this coming Saturday. Jonathan Wimbush and Rob Richards, who you'll get to know on this. Connor, you got a point?
Yeah, I just wanted to add. I was just doing a little bit of because I was surprised by Jürgen Strand Larsen not being in the team. So I was just doing a little bit of hunting as to why that was the case. And he has a slight injury apparently to his Achilles. So even without Jürgen Strand Larsen in this team, whether it be because of injuries or due to the transfer issues and things like that, he's going to be a huge loss for this team if they're not able to have him on the field to play. And certainly a difficult task for Vitor Pereira to try and replace that kind of production from what he was able to do last season in his first season in the Premier League. So, at the moment, Jürgen Strand Larsen potentially out with an injury, although I have seen mixture of reports that it could be day to day in terms of this Achilles. So whether or not he's back for Wolves' next game in the Premier League next weekend against Leeds, we'll have to wait and see. But if he's not, then the alarm bells may start ringing really in terms of Wolves' survival in the Premier League this season.
No doubt about it. Kim Smith, we're going to start talking about Blues in a moment, but can you confirm for the audience here that Jonathan Wimbush's comment of he goes where he's sent is not true, as we all volunteer the games that we make ourselves available for? So that is absolutely true, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And
he wants to go to Wolves. He wants to go to Wolves. So. Right, we are going to move on to the Championship in just a moment here on the Monday after on the BHBN YouTube channel, part of the Birmingham Sports team, all coming together to talk about the football after this very important message.
BHBN Radio has been going since 1952. It is run entirely by volunteers, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Right now, BHBN needs friends like you to ensure it can broadcast to hospitals, care homes and into the community for many more years to come. You can help by donating through our Just GoFundMe account. It's easy. Simply go to our website, bhbn.net, scan our GoFundMe QR code, and in a few clicks, you can help us out. If you're a taxpayer, you can give 25% more through gift aid at no extra cost to you.
BHBN Radio.
It is the Monday after here on Birmingham Sport, BHBN Radio, our first YouTube show. We're dipping into the Championship now for a review of the weekend's action. Over in the Potteries at Birmingham City, back-to-back defeats for them. 1-0 away at Stoke. Kim Smith was there, and this is how it sounded.
Everybody back for Blues. Tight line around the 6-yard box. Ball comes in, it's headed. But Allsop goes to grab it and the ball slips out of his hands. I'm not sure if there was a connection with a head there. I'm just waiting to see that again. So it was Bosun Lawal who made the connection for the goal. And just watching this again, the ball came in and there was almost a collision between Lawal, but Allsop had come up for the goal, but Lawal's header from very close range just about connected with the ball to put it behind Allsop. So with 21 minutes on the clock here, it is Stoke 1, Blues 0. Kumas over on the left-hand side needs to get past his man, finds Peck. He does outstrip his man. The ball's into the centre. Damari Gray sort of lashes at it, but only ends up putting it into the hands of Johansson.
So defeat for Blues on the road, and Kim, they are looking like a home team. Blues, I think, on the road is where they're having their struggles.
Yeah, I think you might be right there, Ben. I mean, of course, both teams came into that off the back of a defeat, but Stoke had got the home advantage, and I think Mark Robbins had really done his homework because he had set Stoke up to definitely nullify players like Damari Gray and Jay Stansfield, which of course is Blues' main outlets at the moment. And of course, we've also now got Keshi Anderson, who's injured as well, who would be another good outlet. But certainly Chris Davies was saying in the presser afterwards that he thinks both Anderson and Willemsen will be out until possibly the next international break. So that's not great news.
Not at all. Connor Porter, you see plenty of Birmingham City. I'm not sure that you have this season yet, but I don't know. It might be a controversial view, this. Do you think Chris Davies might be finding the Championship tricky from a coaching point of view?
I don't think so. I think he's shown the quality already this season so far to compete in this division. You know, think about the earlier fixtures in the season when they went toe to toe with Ipswich that had only just been relegated from the Premier League and managed to get a draw from that fixture there. Blackburn, a very established team in the Championship as well, and they got a victory against them. So there is certainly qualities that they've shown. And, you know, one of the losses on the board, or both losses on the board, sorry, are either against Leicester, who are another team that's recently relegated from the Premier League, or Stoke, who are absolutely flying this season. So there's nothing really bad for Blues to be downbeat about so far this season, I think. And I think Kim certainly has the optimism, sorry, as a Blues fan. But certainly I think she would love to see a bit more of an attacking flair, I suppose, going forward, Kim, when it comes to finding those goals.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main problem yesterday is they couldn't adequately get behind Stoke's defence to make some proper opportunities. And Chris Davies said in the presser he thought that Blues started too slowly and didn't make themselves enough chances. But certainly in the second half, Blues did manage to make themselves very difficult to play against. And you could sense the anxiety in the stadium, where the Stoke fans, I think, were getting quite worried that Blues were going to be able to pull out an equaliser or something in the last minute. So, you know, they did succeed more in the second half, but just couldn't produce that final product. But I think we're still waiting for Marvin Duksh to come to full fitness. He did play a little bit of a part yesterday, but wasn't on for long. And I think we may well see more of him when he's fully fit. And also Kyogo, of course, he's getting a lot of chances, but not putting them away. But certainly after the last home game, Chris Davies said he wasn't that worried at the moment. He said it's when players don't get chances he gets concerned, rather than when they're getting chances and not taking them. So, I mean, it's Swansea up next. who I think might prove to be, something that Blues can take on, particularly with a home kick-off at lunchtime.
Yeah, definitely. And Kim will be there on Saturday. Apologies that we can't go too deeply into that because we are up against the clock. Staying in the Championship. Live game on Saturday was at the Hawthorns. West Bromwich Albion took on the might of Derby County. And here's how it sounded.
Illing Jr. over on the far side is coming towards the corner of the box. Over on the far side there, onto his left foot. He's got Campbell with him, he uses him, and Campbell goes to Collier, and Collier infield to Malumbu, steadies himself for a shot, gets a shot in, that's a good save from Jakob Zetterstrom. That's West Brom's best moment of the second half, a low-down shot, and he's full stretch, low down, he gets a hand to it, and it's gone out of play for a corner. Ball into the box there, space at the back stick for Derby County. Andy Vyman has got a shot in, it has found the bottom corner. We said Andy Vyman can pop up with a late goal, and against his former club, the former Villa man has broken the deadlock. West Bromwich Albion 0, Derby County 1. Callum Stiles wraps his left foot around this, it's deep and it's going to stay in play though, and it's hooked back there, it's going to come to Malumbu, that's the crossbar, and bounce back out towards the halfway line, Agibang, but a good challenge there. Has won the ball back for West Brom.
Played a great game, didn't get what we deserved, which happens in football. We have to accept it and move on.
So 0-0, did you feel your side had done enough, created enough for the victory you were looking for?
It was creating openings, certainly, and we were a team that were, I thought the first half we had real dominance in terms of territory and balls in the box. Probably didn't create too many chances, but that happens when you're playing against a team that defends so low with 10 players behind the ball. But we understood that as the game went on, openings would happen. That certainly did happen. We just weren't able to make the most of those situations. And yeah, the goal is unfortunate from our side. I think to concede one shot on target in a game of football, and that's the first one in the 85th minute. It's not very often you play games and that happens. So I know we played a really good game. Certainly didn't deserve to lose, so it's a frustrating one.
Jonathan Wimbush was with me in the press box at the Hawthorns yesterday. And for a long time, John, we genuinely thought the highlight of the match that we would be talking about would be when a dead bird fell onto the pitch at the Hawthorns. Jonathan Wimbush's initial thought was that the ball had hit a bird when it had been skied in the air, but apparently now we've been told that a bird of prey, like a hawk or an eagle or something, had attacked a pigeon and just decided to dump it on the halfway line at the Hawthorns during a football match. The game was stopped, and we thought, "Hang on, what's going on here?" Because you get those worrying kind of medical emergencies in the crowd, and we thought something like that had happened. The game had stopped for a couple of minutes. That was at 0-0. We just felt that the longer it was going on, Derby were growing into it, and Andy Vyman pops up.
Yeah, Andy Vyman, of all people, former Albion player, former Villa player as well, comes up with 5 minutes to go to nick it. We just can't seem to beat Derby. Every team has what's known as the bogey team. And for West Bromwich Albion lately, it is Derby County, because they already beat us earlier in the season in the Carabao Cup on a penalty shootout. And obviously, it was West Brom just couldn't take the chances. And then Derby County had their first shots on target, really.
Yep.
And they scored from it. So it was one of those smash and grab victories. And John Eustace also said in the press conference afterwards that little 3-minute break made him rethink his strategy, and that became the difference. So I'm not sure how much.
So the dead bird gets the assist for the way the game went. Okay,
Yeah.
you talk about a bogey team though, right? Derby County, the bogey team. I'm convinced in the Europa League that Go Ahead Eagles are Crystal Palace in disguise, and who are like that was their tactic to try and get back in the Europa League once they'd been kicked out. We've literally only got a couple of minutes left. Connor Porter sees plenty of West Brom. A decent start for them, Connor.
Yeah, certainly a decent start. I don't think they can be too disappointed on how the season's opened up, considering some of the players that they've lost over the summer, including Darnell Furlong and Tom Fellows, part of that right side of the field that was so prominent for them for the last couple of seasons when they've been pushing for the playoffs. They can't be too disappointed really with a loss against Derby at home, sure. But there's plenty to see from them building on this coming season. And Ryan Mason's had a good start to his managerial reign at the football club.
Yeah, and pushing within the 6th to 10th spot, I think, is where they'll be. Maybe pushing to try and get into the playoffs for West Bromwich Albion. If this was a match, it's so late in the day now. If it was a match, Liverpool would be about to score. That's how late it is in the game. So, Ed, I'll give you a minute to talk about your beloved Liverpool and where you are.
I knew that was coming when you said late in the day. But the thing is, you can only all you can do is win your games. I don't think Liverpool have been really up to speed so far, but a mark of champions is keep going till the end. And some of the decisions we've been getting late on come from the fact that we're still camped in the opposition's box with 5 minutes to go. We're pushing to try and get a goal, and like today, you saw a bit of an error from the Burnley defender who had been incredible, Burnley. But if you've got 9 men blocking shots for 89 minutes, eventually something's going to give. So, I have to take issue with the idea that there's no league table yet, because of course we sit top of it.
There is no league table yet. But we will take solace over the course of the next few days of how rubbish teams like Man United are. So that's good. Saturday afternoon, Birmingham Sport across the wards. Phil Stoneman, who is an absolute legend, will be in the chair, and live commentary will be from Molineux. It will be in the Premier League. It will be Wolves against Leeds. That is a big 6-pointer. Kim will be at St Andrews. Connor, quickly, please.
Yeah, quick correction. I said day to day for Jurgen Strand Larsen. It's day by day, the quote was from Victor Pereira, because he was worried about how quickly he could come back, but they just don't know. They're just working day by day with him.
We'll see how it goes. But it will be live on BHBN Radio across the wards this Saturday. For Ed Mackay, Connor Porter, Kim Smith, Jonathan Wimbush, I'm Ben Ellis. We'll review all of next weekend's action next week.
Birmingham Sports
with Ben Ellis.
This is BHBN Radio.